Never start with, oh, I bought this license and now let me find where I can use that license. That's always the wrong thing to do. Think about the problem and then think about what's the right technology to solve that problem. Yes. So, like, let's not wait to get ROI. Right? As an enterprise company, let me not wait quarters and years. I can get return on my investment. I can get productivity gains today with AI. So, our ambition is, of course, to be the agentic AI partner of choice to the largest enterprises in the world. So Emma stands for Enterprise Machine Assistant, but she also has a personality of her own. The idea behind it was, and what unites Suraj Shah with the two co-founders and I from day one was we've worked with some of the smartest people, but we hire those smart people and make them do a lot of manual, tedious, repetitive work. It does not use all of human creativity, right? Human brain to its real potential. I think that's one thing which has been true for us. We started with a problem that we want to solve. We didn't say, here is a cool tech, let's find a problem for it. We started with a problem and then say, okay, how can tech solve this? What's that future of work should look like now or could look like now when you have technology that is more powerful and can do more things? And then
What if your workforce is significantly more productive from one day to the other? What if all of your employees only do the stuff you have hired them for and can forget about all this admin stuff that takes valuable time from them? And what if you can orchestrate all your admin employees with the push of a button and also have the guarantee that they will do their job exactly as outlined in your policies and process documentation? Welcome to another Employee Experience Steps podcast from the Munich Podcast studio. Employee Experience Steps podcasts are about HR tech, employee experience, shared services, and other interesting topics around HR at the workplace. Today's episode is an addition to our Startup and AI series we are running currently. And the AI startup that I was talking to is just turning 3, so it's truly a startup. But this does not mean that it isn't ready to rock the space they are in. Meet Emma, Enterprise Machine Assistants, a startup focused on making the AI revolution reality. I had the pleasure to talk to Swati Trehan, COO of Emma. We talked deep around AI, what it can do, and how to scale a workforce of AI agents. But we also talked about the hype around AI, the anti-hype around SaaS vendors, and how AI will actually also make BPO companies rethink their business model. And where we landed provided me with a very interesting perspective of the future. Quite frankly, if you don't yet think about your AI workforce, listen or watch our conversation. And even if you are already all hands on deck when it comes to your AI workforce, you will find quite some interesting nuggets in here. But why am I still talking? Meet Swati Trehan, COO Emma.
Swati, hello. It's so great to have you. I'm really excited about our conversation today because we talk about the topic that is pretty close to me, that is pretty innovative, and I didn't yet have any chance to talk to anyone about that. But before we go there, tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Swati Trehan? What's your background? What did you do before you joined the company that you are at? We talk about in a second. And what are your experiences?
Mm. Hi, Volker. Hello, everybody. Very excited to be here and definitely talking about a topic that's very dear to my heart. It's what I live and breathe every day. But yeah, so I'm Swati. I am currently the COO of this company called Emma, and we'll talk about that later. My background on professional side is all operations strategy, building products in tech, largely across Google and Shopify. That's the bulk of tech career. Started my journey as an engineer, moved into consulting right out of school with McKinsey. Started my tech journey very unconventional path with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, where I led all tech runs for India, built
Very
healthcare
interesting.
applications. moved to the US for business school, was in Boston at HBS, very cold, moved to California.
Especially for someone coming from India, eh?
Especially for the summer of California, I was in the Silicon Valley at the heart of tech with Google. And then 5 years back, decided in the middle of COVID to move to London and change jobs to Shopify at that time. So yeah, now I'm in London. That's kind of also the life journey along with profession journey. Now I'm in London. I live here with my husband and two furry babies, two cats.
Ooh, amazing. I mean, London, I think still warmer than Boston, but really, London?
I get that question a lot from non-London people. Yeah, so way warmer than Boston. I would say actually I'm used to the slight rain and slight gray. Love the city. Uh, we had come here thinking 1 year experiment. It's been more than 5 years, and we love the city.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. I mean, I'm very happy that you're London based. It makes the conversation and the meeting times much easier for both of us, and I'm happy about that. No, fantastic. Swati, before talking about Emma and what Emma is about, what you're doing there, which is pretty exciting. Your role, you're currently the COO. What does it mean? What does a day in your life look like? What are you doing?
Yeah, well, every day is different. I think that's the magic of CEO and why I kind of went on that path. I like variety. I get bored easily, so the varieties help me. But yeah, well, like overall, it covers all internal functions. So I look at everything from HR, finance, legal, compliance,
Wow.
planning, rah 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 culture. But then also I run marketing, PR, investor relations on the external side. And being based here in London for a Valley headquartered company, I was the
Yeah.
first non-engineer in the company, like non-coder. I'm still the engineer, but non-coder in the company. So started selling as well. So now I also run sales and partnership for Europe and UK. So pretty varied role. Um, a day could go from I'm talking to clients and talking about agentic AI and how agentic AI can help them, and of course, like talking about how EMA can help them. Go into a very deep recruiting conversation on how do we fix recruiting and how do we hire like 100
Can,
people in months.
can
Uh,
recruiting be fixed, really?
well, not really. But there are things that we can do better.
Yeah.
And then go into even like, calling New York clerks to pay some small $10 unemployment claim, everything in the middle. Right? So it's a lot in there. But it's the variety that I like of a COO.
Yeah. Definitely not boring. Definitely not boring.
Yeah,
And Emma, you
it
started.
is context switching quite a lot,
Yeah.
which can be fun and challenging in its own ways, but definitely not boring.
And Emma, you started already talking about agentic AI and Emma a bit. Um, but you also have, as you just shared, a very diverse, interesting experience background on what you have done before. Um, what did you make join Emma?
Uh, I think it's few things. One, I of course know the founders. The founders and I are Zooglers or ex-Googlers. We know each other from Google days. Especially the CEO and I worked together for almost 3 years at Google, pretty closely in a very similar capacity. So when Surjit, when he started Emma, he reached out and said, "Are you bored at Shopify yet?" And I was like, "Well, kind of." So you'll see, boring getting bored is a pattern in my journey. So I tried different things because of that. Uh, and it was the end of the right time. I'd started thinking about maybe I want to do something smaller, something of my own. It was an exciting time for entrepreneurship. I had had the good fortune of working at Shopify as a company that really promotes entrepreneurship. So like, okay, yeah, let's talk. Found the vision to be very, very exciting. Then talking to the first, I was what, employee number 7 or 8. So the
Wow.
first, after the two founders, the first 5 employees were basically researchers, machine learning professors and researchers. And talking to all of them, I realized, okay, this is the right team to go after that vision. Like, of course,
Yeah.
like these people will build the team,
Yeah.
but even the first 5 are a sample set of what's to come. So
Yeah.
vision, people, um, and just the desire to build something from scratch that I could call my own as well and have my
Mm.
imprint on how to build a company.
Amazing. Yeah, you alluded to this, right? Emma is still a very, very fresh startup, but it has already um, very, very big and interesting backers when it comes to money, when it comes to support, when it comes to collaboration. So it's really a very interesting journey that is already there. Um, do you mind sharing a bit the story of Emma? What how did it come to the founding of it? And how has it developed since then?
Yeah, sure thing. So Emma stands for Enterprise Machine Assistant, but she also has a personality of her own. We founded Emma February of 2023. So it's been almost 3 years now. So it will be
So
3 year.
congratulations.
Thank you. It'll be 3 year anniversary on Feb 28. We're planning some party and stuff in all our different locations. The idea behind it was, and what unites Suraj Shah with the two co-founders and I from day one was we've all been fortunate to be in great companies. We've all worked
Mm,
for
mhm,
Google, Shopify, Okta, Coinbase, etc. We've worked with some of the smartest people in the world.
mhm,
But we hire those smart people and make them do a lot of manual, tedious, repetitive work, which does not use all of human creativity, right? Human brain to its real potential. Um, and this is the first time that tech seemed more, at that time, ChatGPT had just come out November 2022.
mhm,
So this
mhm,
is kind
mhm.
of January-ish 23, just a couple of months after that, when Suraj and Shobhik were thinking about what they want to do next in life. Like this first time tech is more human like than software
Yeah,
like. So
yeah.
you can actually use tech in different ways than it was possible before. So I think it was like kind of the right time to go after this problem space of,
Mhm.
okay, how do we make people in their workplace
Yeah,
focus more on actual creative thinking
yeah.
work
More
than
value adding work. Mm.
copy paste work, right? Or like, okay, pressing button. So that's kind of where the journey started of how do we use technology to actually automate a lot of the manual work so that you are free to do more of the creative work.
Amazing. And if you think about it, I mean, 3 years, on one hand, it doesn't sound so much. On the other hand, in those 3 years, so much has happened. So much has happened. When I speak to startups, they start in one way, they start on one idea, and often they pivot. How is this for Emma? Are you still on the original journey, or were there some pivots on the way? Where are you?
I think we've been true to our original vision and hypothesis.
Hmm.
The first ever way that we described demo, and this was literally the pre-seed round deck or one slide from pre-seed round, was universal AI employees. What are
Mm.
we building? We're building a universal AI employee. At that time, agents was not a thing. This is again
No, I'm not
2020.
sure if the word existed.
Yeah, that word did not exist in the language that we like now
Yeah,
associated with. Agent
yeah,
was like you use in terms of like human agent or insurance agents and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
not an
yeah,
AI agent. So it was also difficult to describe what that meant. So we called it a universal AI employee who has capabilities and skills and personas. So those are the words that we would use. And what has happened, especially in the first 2 years of the journey, was how do we get there? Like at that
yeah,
time, the why was very clear, the what was clear of what we want to do. But
yeah.
how do we build it? How do you build a
Mhm.
universal AI employee that can do lots of different kinds of work in the enterprise? That, of course, was not clear. And that
Mhm,
we
mhm.
with a lot of experimentation. Of course, there were failures along the way, learnings along the way of what works, what doesn't.
Yeah,
The technology is changing so fast that we are working with generative AI that what is possible today changes every day. So you also have to keep pace with okay now what can you do. So
yeah,
it's also very different way. But I think the why, the what, and now the how is also more stable.
yeah. And Swati, when I then, go back to what you just said, the the original idea, and I think this is very important because this is also something that I see in the market where, some startups are struggling versus some others who are more successful. Is at the beginning of Emma was not the idea, hey, there's something cool, it's called AI, let's do something with it. At the beginning was like the fundamental business problem that you do not utilize smart people at their best, but you basically, I don't know, waste 50 or whatever percent of their work time and energy through draining admin repetitive tasks, right?
Yeah, no, very true, right? Like, I think that's one thing which has been true for us. We started with a problem that we want
Yeah.
to solve. We didn't say, here is a cool tech, let's find a problem for it. We started with a problem and then say, okay, how can tech solve this? What's that future of work should look like now or could look like now
Mhm.
when you have technology that is more powerful and can do more things? And then so that, we are also in a way like, as a company also, we are living that every day of like, what is this new future of work of AI and human
Yeah.
together? But yes, but we started with the problem, and that's something that I
Mhm.
tell all our clients as like, just like, to help them. Never start with, oh, I bought this license and now let me find where I can use that license. That's always the wrong thing to do. Think about the problem and then think about
Yes.
what's the right technology to solve that problem for you.
Yes. Absolutely. Now let's go into what are the problems you can solve today. So Emma, as the product today, what what does it offer? What can it do already today? What are the use cases that you are
Yeah.
helping companies with?
Yeah, so we are a horizontal, think of us as a horizontal platform
Mhm.
where we've pre-built lots of agents. And what we do is what we sell is AI employees. So
Mhm.
they're
Mhm.
just mixture of many agents together. So lots of agents together in a workflow. And so the main functions that we have AI employees in for today are HR, lots of them in HR. We can talk
Mhm.
about that more.
Yeah.
Finance, so like the
Yeah.
CFO's office, internal finance, customer support, and
Mhm.
sales. So
Mhm.
those are across industries. The
Uh-huh.
two
Uh-huh.
industries that we are strategically going after with more domain specific is healthcare and insurance.
Yeah.
And because there is a lot of knowledge base or specialist worker work there, there's a lot of unstructured data,
Yeah.
uh, almost zero automation,
Yeah.
also more like business critical workflows, again, technology is such that now you can automate them. You couldn't
Yeah.
have automated earlier. So that's kind of the mandate that we're going after, but much more on, I would say, HR, finance, and customer support are the biggest ones for us.
And driving into HR because this is where I'm somehow more knowledgeable than when it comes to like finance or sales. So let's go into HR. What kind of AI employees do you offer, and
Yeah.
how does this work?
So we approach the problem end to end. So we think of in
Mm-hmm.
HR the hire to retire life cycle of an employee, for human employee.
Yeah.
And when you think about that, we have AI employees that enable work or automate like fully autonomous work
Mm-hmm.
across that life cycle. So there is,
Mm-hmm.
of course, human control, but there's also human in the loop when needed. So
Mm-hmm.
everything from position management, so even pre-recruiting, position management, it's very complicated in large companies. It spans across HR, finance for cost center, etc. Within HR, different functions and hiring manager, etc.
Yep.
So starting from position management to recruiting. In recruiting, you would have AI employees like enabling recruiters to move faster with resume evaluation, outbound and inbound matching and search and personalized communication. Voice agents for interview screening, so you can now start doing some of that, so that again, the recruiters are focused on the most qualified candidates who
Yeah.
actually are looking for work, right? So like you can move faster
Yeah.
in your conversion. Going into onboarding, lots of checklist, lots of document checks, like right
Yeah.
to work check, identity check, lots of those things that again are across
Wow.
systems.
Yeah.
So we go into deep into onboarding, uh, digital front door for the employee. So that's where employee productivity at a whole
Yeah.
organization level becomes important. So self-serve a lot of support issues across IT, HR, even finance world, like
Mm-hmm.
expenses, etc., facilities, security, etc. Finally going into then kind of benefits, payroll, and offboarding. So that's kind of the cycle and employees life cycle. And we have AI employees across both for the employee, but then also for the HR function.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, this is not an easy space, right? Particularly when you talked about document validation, right? This is but, not a global standard, right? Documents look different in every country. The rules are different in every country of what you need to validate and how you need to validate that. Um, how 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 do you go about this? How do you make sure that your AI employees do have the right capabilities to make that happen?
Yeah. Great question. I think there are, of course, like different players are using different approaches. The
Yeah.
approach we've used, and which is our kind of secret sauce from a technology point of view, what we built is we built the entire tech stack of in an agentic fashion, in a very
Hmm.
modular fashion.
Hmm.
So, as I mentioned, AI employees are a collection of AI agents. Think of agents at the level of a task. So,
Ah,
document
okay. Yeah.
validation. So, document like text extraction from a
Hmm.
document and then validating that against the rule set. So extraction is an agent, validation is an agent, writing some SQL code is an agent, writing a doc is an agent, building a chart is an agent. So we've broken down work as these tasks. Now these tasks are in a way general tasks, and you can
Yeah.
bring them together, give them different context, they'll do different things. And each of these agents, now we have got 300 plus agents in the library. They are very very good at doing that one thing.
Hmm.
And so now when you bring these agents together for an AI employee, say document, right to work check, will have multiple agents under the hood. They are all good at each one of their individual things. Now you give them some new instructions, which is for the context. You train a little bit. You give some feedback. You'll see some samples and give feedback, which will get better. So they get better with that feedback at an agent level. That is how we've kind of built the product. So it becomes very reusable components like Lego
Yeah.
blocks, but at the same time, in that specific thing, they are very good.
So
Uh,
basically, then spreading them out, you you can reuse like 90% of the agents across every country because it's the same
yeah,
job, like
same
getting
job.
the document, extracting it, searching for some information, and then just the validation step is a separate one that is different in Brazil than it is in, I don't
Yeah,
know,
and
the
it's
UK
it's
than it
actually how
is.
humans operate, right? So humans
Yeah,
have skills, right?
yeah.
Like, and say I am a recruiter in a tech startup. I can go and be a recruiter in a FMCG company. My
Uh-huh.
skill set is similar. The context
Uh-huh.
shifts. So I
Uh-huh.
learn in the new
Uh-huh.
context, but I know what the job is. So it's
Yeah,
a very
yeah.
similar concept. And we actually
Mm.
built them on that way of like humans have skills, AI employees have agents or capabilities, and you can put them together in a different weightage
Yeah.
and give them the context for that company, for that industry, and then they are good to go. It's very similar concept, it's just humans
Yeah.
take longer to get there. AI works all the time, doesn't go to
Yeah.
the bathroom, doesn't sleep. Uh, we'll get there faster. So yeah, but it's a very similar concept as like
Yeah.
how humans would operate from one company to the other.
That's pretty cool. And when it comes to system interoperability, are there like, many, different companies use different systems, particularly in the recruiting space. There are so many different systems that one can use. Are there any boundaries, any barriers? Is this something off the shelf? Is this something to learn? Like when the company uses Workday versus Success Factors versus Avature versus Phenom or whatever out there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so work in enterprise is very fragmented, right? You have like different, as you said, like different software applications we are using today for different things. Even just within HR, you might have like 10 plus systems of records for different things, right? What we've done is we've trained agents for each of these main applications. So 200 plus general SaaS applications that most enterprise companies use. We've trained agents to go read and write into any of these. So there'll be an agent that you add as an external tool agent for Workday. Say you're
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
Workday as HRMS, but then you're using say ServiceNow for IT service desk, and
yeah,
you're using
yeah.
My Time for vacation management, and then you're using maybe ADP for payroll, etc. Whatever, right? Like you might have like these four. So you'll have four agents in that workflow, each one expert on Workday, ServiceNow,
Mhm, mhm.
etc. And they are going and taking action in that software on your behalf. So if I'm an employee, I'm like, okay, I'm want to take a vacation. What's my leave balance? It will go hit, say Workday, bring my leave balance back. Okay, now I want to take a vacation. So the employee stays in say Teams, intranet, Slack, wherever they are, wherever their work is. they don't have to go into these different systems. So that's kind of the
Mhm.
big value prop. So, and the enterprise does not have to change their tech stack, because that is also very, very hard to do for large
Mm.
companies to say, okay, now I'm
Yeah,
going to go to one system of record. It will take 5 years.
yeah, yeah.
By the time you get there, technology has changed completely, right? Context has changed. So we work with the enterprise's current tech stack. Think of this as a super worker layer on top of all
Yeah.
of these. Our agents go and take actions, mimics the human, and goes takes action in those systems.
Swati, you're making a good point here, and I'm pretty sure you have seen the ongoing, debate, which I think is more on the market than anywhere else around. Will AI replace those big, SaaS companies like Workday, like SuccessFactors, etc.? When I listen to you I'm understanding. No, it won't. It will work in those, but you continue to have those applications. Do I
I would
understand
say I'm,
right?
I'm
Or
smiling because I'll be like, it kind of maybe yes and no, or maybe it's an answer of more timeline,
okay,
right? What is
tell me
here and
more.
now and where
Yeah,
it could go, right?
yeah.
A little now maybe getting into more speculative space a little bit of just for thought experiment, right? So here and now is yes. So like let's not wait to get ROI, right? As an
Yeah.
enterprise company, let me not wait quarters and years. I can get return on my investment. I can get productivity gains today
Mhm.
with AI. So let me not go that path and actually bring in platforms like Emma to help you get there. Now, once you have these agentic applications doing the work for you, one,
Yeah.
of course, the obvious thing is, oh, you don't need enough that many seats in these systems, because you can
Mhm.
just have a seat for the AI agent and don't need as many seats for humans. Then you start asking the question of, okay, if it's now becoming mainly a system of record, the UI doesn't matter because the human's never going there. Do you now in future state, do you need all bells and whistles, or it
Yeah.
is just a database? If
Yeah.
it's just a database, then of course the application's unique UI doesn't matter. Can you just go with a simpler database because now only AI agents are going into it, humans are not,
Yeah.
and they just understand programming language. They don't need like a nice looking window and nice looking
Yeah.
buttons
Yeah.
to click, right? So there are some definitely conversations that are starting to happen in the industry where people
Mm.
like self are asking the question, okay, what is a maybe 18 to 24 months out picture from now? Today I add agents on top.
Mhm.
Tomorrow, do I start replacing some of these systems? Do I need them? Do I just replace them with a system of record as a
Yeah.
database? Have these models on top of it? I think it will probably be a mix of both world because these ERP systems are also innovating. And Workday is acquiring a lot of companies, has added some agents. ServiceNow has
Mhm.
added
Mhm.
agents. So I would see that probably their business model will also shift. Their product will also shift. It will be a world of more agents triggering agents. So maybe like MI agent instead of triggering an API in Workday today, tomorrow triggers an agent in
Mm.
Workday. So,
Mm.
so I think like the world will probably evolve to more that than complete replacement. But I would say ERP systems also have to innovate to stay
Yeah.
ahead in the game then.
Yeah. I agree. You know what my view is that, quite frankly, yes, it might be that the UX UI is less important, and you know I think we're all happy about that because the UX UI of those the solutions today are horrible. No one wants to use them. Everyone has to use them. But it's I think it's a bit more than just a dump database, because all of the rules, your CBAs, your way how you treat specific HR processes. This is ingrained in how the system is set up, like in some of the like in a work language called the business process, right? And I would argue that the bots, like an Emma employee, AI employee, they need to know, they need to understand how to do a promotion in company A versus company B. And if they don't have a a system where they can like take this from, learn this from, they're screwed, no?
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Like I'm with you. Like there's a lot of it's I think maybe like too simplistic to say just a system of record, right? Because it's a system of record with a lot more depth in it.
Yeah.
It's like a lot more domain knowledge in it, a
Mm-hmm.
lot more
Mm-hmm.
of those setups for that company, right? So I think, I'm in alignment with you that probably it's
Yeah.
not complete replacement, but the underlying system of record also changes to be more focused on business processes and be more be maybe easier to set up, because now you
Yeah.
don't have the burden of the UI, right? And you don't have the tech debt
Exactly.
of the UI and the features. Um, but these agents are also getting smarter, right? Like,
Yeah.
so what is, again, what is true today will not be true 6 months from now, 12 months from
True.
now. So once the agent knows, once it has learned, it doesn't need to learn again. It has learned, and it will actually evolve faster, because your business process
Mhm.
also changes as
Mhm.
a company. It's not static. It doesn't change every day, but it does change.
Yeah,
So
it
they
does. Yeah.
have to go to an ERP system to do the if then else again, or do the
Yeah.
setup
Yeah.
manually again. You can tell the agent, oh, now my business process is this step has
It's
changed,
different. Yeah.
and it will learn, right? It will
Yeah.
just remember that. It has short-term, long-term memory. So I think because
Yeah.
the technology is evolving so fast, faster than what we've seen before,
Crazy. Yeah.
it's yet to see what will happen. That's the interesting part, I guess, in this all. But it could go the route of that the agents become a lot more intelligent, a lot more
Mhm.
memory works a lot better than it does today. Then some of those systems can, once it has learned, you don't need that knowledge again.
The hot take maybe that I would say is, rather than disrupting the SaaS landscape, I think what you are disrupting is the BPO landscape.
I think maybe both in a way, but it's less about the software of the SaaS, right? When we look at work today, the human, like going back to our original problem statement we were going after, right? Like the human is doing translation between systems today, right? The human is doing work out of these systems. So I'm doing something in a spreadsheet, then I
Mhm.
upload that spreadsheet, then I press some buttons here, then based off of this I download a something and then upload in a different system. That is the definite replacement, right? Like
Yes.
that is the part that, okay, that is not efficient, that
Yeah.
is not productive, nobody likes
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
So let's have agents do this upload download in the background, nobody needs to know, right? So that's the first pass, and that is where big significant productivity gains are, and happiness also is, right? Well-being of employees is also there,
Yes.
with this in mind. Now if we talk about, okay, the softwares itself in SaaS, yeah, that's not what it is we are going after replacing today,
Mhm.
and it's not needed. Like, we don't want to build a new ERP system. That's the
No.
20-year-old technology. What the
Mm.
technology we're building is just like how these systems talk to each other and talk to humans. BPO is an interesting one you bring up, right? The services industry in general, I think there's been a lot of talk of SaaS is dead, or the new SaaS is the software as a service, not services.
Services as a software.
Surface as a
Exactly.
software. I was saying that other way around. It's service as a software. I think the BPO world also, and we work with actually a lot of our partners are services companies.
Mhm.
I think where that is evolving is this, again, the human plus AI element. You will still need human for some critical workflows. You want
Yes.
decision making there, right? You want
But
checks and
significantly less.
but significantly less. So now you can, one, as a BPO, you can do a lot more business with the same human workforce,
Mhm.
with the human workforce focused on both as a reviewer and as for the more complex cases that are not repetitive in nature, hence AI will not be as good at them, while you use AI for the rest. You can also gain some cost advantages that you can give to your clients. So it becomes, again, more attractive for clients to work with you. Service levels can be better, because, again, now your responses are faster. Your customers are not waiting for longer. So your quality is better, which also becomes a revenue opportunity, because then you
Yeah.
are more can be more elite as a service in the market.
But at the same time, all of what you're just describing, I don't necessarily need to ask my service provider anymore. The same can be brought from you directly or from the SaaS provider, right? So there.
Yeah, I think, like, going what you said about the SaaS also, right? Like, there is that history, there is
Yeah.
that context. So now, if you've been working with the BPO for several years, you actually, as a company, don't have the knowledge that they have.
That's true.
You've not run your support on your own, right?
Yeah.
And so, with a going with BPOs who are embracing technology, like if a BPO is not embracing technology, yeah, I think probably, you know they should. It's too late. They should. But if they're embracing technology and actually providing you with a human plus AI fitting, then the enterprise of course, can make the decision on, okay, I still want to bring it in house. But then you have to staff a team, train them, manage them. All of that years of how your support is done, you don't have anymore. So I think like service providers who embrace technology and also shift their business model, it's no longer hours, because guess what?
Yeah.
You'll spend less hours on things. It is more outcomes.
Yeah.
Will actually be ahead in the game. And that's what we are seeing with, at least the service providers we work with.
Interesting. Let's pivot a bit, maybe, Swati, if you don't mind. Um, the ROI. You have already talked about the ROI, and I think you also touched a bit already about the what's the critical value proposition of Emma. But let's go there in a bit more detail. When you would have to like sum it up in an elevator speech, what's the value proposition of Emma?
Yeah. I would say value proposition of MI is you get more productive, more efficient, expand your business without growing your costs, right? And key metrics that come up out of it is, of course, your outcomes being cost improvements or savings, business expansion. Depending on the use case, you have both for one of them. Um, well-being of employees from an HR point of view for sure, because then you
Mm-hmm.
have gaining more productivity across the organization, which then results, of course, in like the secondary impact on the business as well. Right. And so, but if I have to really state it in a statement, you're doing more with less.
Yeah.
That's the value prop. You're able to do more with less as a business. And that's where we are enabling humans or augmenting humans
Yeah.
in different
And
use cases,
replacing humans, right?
or replacing humans when needed, right?
Yeah.
Like
I
for
mean,
some
I
work, you don't need humans.
I think we all would love a world where the growth is endless and you can add AI agents to do more with less. But the reality in most companies is that there's a finite amount of work. And if you can use AI to do that finite amount of work, you need less humans to do it.
Yeah,
That's the only way you can get the ROI in, right?
yeah, yeah. But there's also the if you look at some, could be more specific to certain functions and industries. There is also
Yeah.
human shortage. There's
True.
specialized. You don't
Yeah.
have that
Yeah.
specialized labor, right? Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not going after that kind of education
Yeah.
anymore. So we
Yeah.
work
True.
with a pharmaceutical benefit management
Yeah.
company in the US, PBMs. They tell us there's literally no more pharmacists to hire in the US, in all of US, right?
Crazy.
And they are limited in their business growth and are unable to meet their SLAs of prior authorization on
Yeah.
drugs and imaging, etc., because they don't have enough pharmacists
Yeah. Yeah.
in the country. Same
Yeah.
thing is true for NHS here, right? Like NHS has a shortage of 300,000 staff, and hence the long
Yeah.
lines in patient
Yeah.
care, etc. In HR, there is not that many great like HRBPs, for example, right? Like, can you now upskill someone who's say in
I
HR
tell you,
operations,
payroll people. Payroll
payroll people,
people.
right? Payroll specialists, tax
Yeah.
specialists. There is so
Yeah.
much specialization,
Yeah.
which now you can use AI for, so that your specialists are now superpower,
Yeah.
right? Like they are superpowered. So I think to me, like
Absolutely.
it's also not just about get rid of humans.
Yeah.
It's more about actually human shortage for specialist things, and use humans for that, upskill humans for that, because that's how you unlock more value for the business.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, this is something you have a point there, right? Because when we look into the majority of our developed markets, it's not only that special skills are scarce and more rare, the overall, size of the employee market is decreasing
Yeah,
significantly.
yeah. It's just
So,
decreasing
yeah,
significantly. It's there is so much pressure in the system because of that. And some of these like specialized occupations, yeah, students are not
yeah,
going after them anymore.
yeah. Let's pivot again, Swati.
Yeah.
AI, and particularly AI when we think about, the close human-specific, high interaction intersections between technology and people when it comes to, for example, in the HR space, right? Um, how do you see the challenges of AI solutions around hallucinations, drift, confirmation bias. It's all very sensitive areas. What's Emma's approach there?
Yeah, no, great question. And this is like something that is, top of mind everywhere because it's all
Mhm.
new. There's no as a defined regulation. I would say regulators are also thinking about it of like, okay, how do we understand this technology to have something around? There are a few things there that we from day one for us, for like from the lens of responsible AI has been important to us. There is, as you said, there is bias, right?
Yeah.
That there is human bias. And so if you have a model that is learning from humans, you will continue that bias. But then there also could be model bias. Like if you think
Mhm.
about large language models,
Yeah.
I think what now, maybe a year, 18 months back, there was this full story of Gemini producing not, not real popes. People might remember that story, right? This is like, okay, I think like Google took it to the other extreme of trying to remove bias, kind of hallucinated on the whole thing. But there is bias, inherent bias in the system, in the
Yeah.
individual models based on the
Yeah.
data set that you train them on. Right?
Yeah.
And the approach we've taken at EMA is a few fold. So first one, we don't work with a single large language model. So
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
have built our own foundation model called EMA Fusion, which is a mixture of experts model. So it will
Okay.
merge together multiple models for any agent, any task, and real time. So it will merge together in some cases, like we work with Hitachi very closely for all of their HR workflows.
Yeah. Yeah.
For some of those agents, it uses like 8, 9 models. And we've
Okay.
tended to use like LLM as a judge. So some models we're using for, okay, it'll break down the task and give it to two models, say Gemini and GPT something, and then use Llama to check the work of the two, and then a fourth
Mm.
model to actually now merge it all together and synthesize the answer, right? So and because we use multiple models, the inherent bias in individual models is brought down by quite a lot because now
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have multiple models checking each other's
Yeah.
work. So that reduces bias quite a lot. Of course, the human's inherent bias doesn't happen in AI uh, unless the human specifically says. So, like in recruiting you, unless you specifically say, I only
Yes.
want
Yes.
mimicking
Yes.
the age group of 25 to 30 to be in this work, AI is not going to have that bias. Right? AI doesn't know this name unless, again, this name, this photograph
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
somebody I should hire. So, that itself, from the inherent use of technology, you prevent. And then when we think about like more like ethics and AI, right? Like what are the boundary conditions, etc. We've given a lot of control to the multiple administrators, right?
Mhm.
So you can have human in the loop, human as the reviewer at multiple steps if you want. It also respects the boundary conditions set for it. So the AI employees of the agent respect that. So we will give instructions of here is who you are as an
Yeah.
agent. So,
Yeah.
who are a tech recruiter who is
Yeah.
easygoing and conversational is your persona, but here is what you do. This is your job. It will not go beyond that job. So, like we build the agents in that way that it doesn't go and hallucinate on something because it's not searching the web. It's
Yeah.
rooted in your
Yeah.
data. It's rooted only for you, only in
Yeah.
your environment,
Yeah.
and with those boundary conditions, it works in there. So those are some ways that with Emma Fusion, multiple
Yeah.
models, with a system which has a lot of guardrails and governance built in, and human in the loop features, or human in control features. We're able to control for a lot of bias, hallucination, non-ethical, non-moral things.
And how do you ensure, um, if you will, like predictability or repeatability, right? Because there are certain transactions that just need to do or executed the same way over and over again, which is usually not the strengths of AI, right? Because there's some creativity.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's generative in nature, right? So it's not deterministic. Yeah, so like if there are more, say, objective ways, right? So there is, say, expenses. You have
Yeah.
a rule set. So it's more deterministic in nature. So there, because you're not generating any new content, it will just follow those rule sets, apply those rule sets to any new, say, invoice coming in or
Yeah.
bill
Yeah.
coming in
Yeah.
or reimbursement, right? And it's not going to reinvent the rule set. So it is more deterministic in that way. But the beauty with the agents is you're not hard coding that rule
Yeah.
set. And it can understand that rule set, has intelligence, and apply that rule set. In
Yeah.
a content generation case, say you are wanted to write a, a proposal, a business proposal for something. Now, if you regenerate the business proposal, of course, it will say the same idea, but will use different words. It's not going to use
Mm-hmm.
exactly the same words every time because it's generating real time, right?
Yeah.
So in a more subjective setting, you don't want the same, or like, you're not going to get the same language every single time. It will be the same idea said in a different way. Even there, what we've done is, in some cases, you might want to say something more from a legal perspective in the exact same language, right?
Yeah.
Say we work with entity data for a lot of their sales workflows. So they're writing proposal responses, like 300-page long proposal responses. We've learned with them that you can't use words like we ensure this will happen, because that can be a legal construct. Of you ensured this will happen, but you haven't, there's a liability, right? So we had to like give that instruction to the agent, but our agents
Yeah.
understand natural language. So in
Yeah.
natural language, you could say, okay, the content generation agent, do not use words like ensure,
Sure.
guarantee, and synonyms of that, right? You also don't need to list all the words in the English language for it. But it understands, okay, here is why I cannot use them, and so
Yeah.
I will not use them in the text. So there
Yeah.
are some controls even in subjective nature that you can do.
Brilliant. You already touched on that, right? A regulatory landscape, a legal landscape, particularly in the HR space, it's very difficult. I mean, it is still evolving, but it's a high tension field. How do you see Emma in that? And what often comes to mind when I think about HR and AI is the topic of automated decision making,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, I think, like, again, for us, compliance, security, data governance, and also from the lens of who is the decision maker for what workflows has been important from day one. So
Uh-huh.
from a just general compliance, security, one very strong posture on that for us. I think we have more certifications in AI than even hyperscalers like Google and Microsoft. We have like all the badges of
Yes.
compliance. We've gone through multiple audits by third-party auditors on a lot of our AI systems because, again, we built it that way. Our CTO is ex-Okta, head of engineering for all the things of platform and ML. So that's in our blood to go with that much compliance and data governance and security. But also on what you were getting to, like decision makers. So
Mhm.
things like hiring, we are setting up the workflow with human in the loop as like definitely there, right? So
Yeah.
there, AI is definitely enabling the recruiter or the hiring manager to move faster
Yeah.
with, okay, here is all the summary, here are the questions you can ask, here is all the summary of all the interviews, here is a packet. Now you have the information in one place, so you're not
Yeah.
spending your time looking for that information, but now the human can make the judgment call, because there's a judgment call at the end of the day and they can make the decision. In some cases, there is no restriction, or doesn't need to be a restriction on decision making. Say we
Mhm.
were doing like, that deterministic of, okay, is this invoice or is this bill meeting my rule set? It's a
Yeah.
$50
Yeah.
invoice, sure, approve, right? You don't need a human in the loop to do that. But if it's a $50,000 invoice, yes, you need the human in the loop to do that,
Yeah.
to make that decision. So it's also, I think, like, again, with that, being able to configure and having these uh, granular configurations possible very easily in the system, that's how we allow for where the decision making can be AI,
Yeah.
where the decision making can be human.
Fantastic. Swati, I'm sorry, but it's a lot of fun that we are having in this conversation, and time flies, unfortunately. So I don't want to, take too much advantage of your time, and so uh, we already have to come to kind of the last two questions, if I may. But it was a very fascinating and deep conversation, so I enjoyed it. But before we end, y- you have worked
Mm.
with Emma a lot in the last few years, and I think you probably have to classify them as a kind of like a dog years when it comes to everything that is happening and how fast it's happening, right? But you also before have a lot of experience in similar fields. So um, let's look a bit into the future. When you see Emma in, let's say, 3 years from now, what will it mean for companies? What will it mean for HR organizations? And what will it mean for employees?
Yeah. Um, 3 years is a lifetime in AI, right?
It's it's double the years for Emma,
Double
right?
the years for us. It's our
Yeah.
lifetime, right?
Yeah.
No, I think so. See, our ambition. We are a very bold company. We're a very ambitious set of people. So our ambition is, of course, to be the agentic AI partner of choice for the largest enterprises in the world, where we are partnering with them, helping them through different kinds of business problems and
Yeah.
helping them shape what future of work looks like, right? Because we strongly believe the future work is human plus AI, and that's what we're moving towards. And how do we help our clients and our partners to get there? Because there's a lot more than just technology part of it, right? There is change
Yeah.
management, as when you said, like what happens to employees, what happens to HR. There is skills like a lot of CHROs I talk to. They're now excited about thinking about a way we now actually have skill based organizations. But what does that
Yeah.
even mean, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we think about upskilling? How do we think about change management? Because now business processes will look different with human plus AI versus human alone. What does that mean in the new world? We want to be that player of choice, that partner of choice for the largest companies in the world. That's our ambition. In HR, what the world could look like 3 years from now, I think there will be a lot better HR services,
Yeah.
lot less people providing those services.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that whole concept of do more with less.
Mm.
But each of our HR pairs are empowered by our made super workers by enabling them with the right set of AI employees at
Yeah.
the test, right? Like everybody's a manager with AI employees doing parts of their work. I think that's where we are going with, HR being at the front and center of it all, actually. That is what
Yeah.
I'm excited about, that HR is embracing technology faster than other functions, and is leapfrogging a lot in a lot of ways with AI.
I
Um,
love to hear that.
CHR is also, or HR also plays a role in thinking about how the rest of the organization
Yeah.
evolves. It's
Yeah.
dual role. It's not just about
Exactly.
HR services, but business as a whole, employee base as a whole. So going to your third element of what happens to the employee, I think employees day to day will look different.
Yeah.
They will, I would say, people would be upskilled on how to work with AI, right? Like that
Yeah.
will key component of your skill set, key component of your job. Can you work with AI? And that will become more and more mainstream. I think it's already becoming that. Like I don't think I write a document without working with Gemini or GPT anymore. Maybe I'm losing that skill set of writing a doc or making a presentation, uh, but maybe it's for good reasons, right? Like I can think, but then someone else is doing some of the writing for me.
Yeah.
But it will become more and more mainstream for our work, that
Yeah.
how you work with AI becomes important,
Yeah.
and taking the employees through that change, because humans don't like change.
Yeah.
Taking the
And
employees through that change will be, of course, where HR plays a big role.
I agree. And coming back with the last question to today, when you think about today, what do you see as the top three biggest challenges in your space, and how do you approach them?
I think the first challenge is education,
Mm.
because this is new and fast changing. Um, it the people we are working with, enterprise leaders who are buyers of the technology of the
Yeah.
product, there is an education gap always, and it keeps on staying. It doesn't go away because there is new things coming out every day, right? And so, how much do people even know? Because otherwise, they will have too many questions. They will not know what to buy, won't be able to make a decision, right? So education about the space, or knowledge about the space, given this is the new category, becomes a challenge. How we are solving that one, we are doing a lot of work in just category creation, very consulting style. Like I'm going back to my consulting roots, to just helping, no strings attached. You don't have to buy ever. Let's just have a
Yeah.
conversation. We're
Yeah.
writing a lot of thought leadership. We're working with analysts and HBR and other such publications to bring out, contribute to this ecosystem of what is agentic business
Yeah.
transformation. Like, what does it even mean? Second challenge I see for us as a company is, we are also growing very fast as a company, and so we need like really
Which is
good
great.
humans, which is great problem to have. But there are very few humans in the world who have worked with AI, because this technology is fairly like 2-3 years old, right? So for us to hire people fast enough who are really good at in this, so that we can serve our customers fast enough and keep growing our customer base. With my CEO hat on, that is something that keeps me awake at night. How do we do that? So it's not just a recruiting challenge, but it's more a candidate challenge as well. Of like the market is small and it's competitive.
I have an idea for you, Swati.
Yes.
Use AI employees.
Yes, but to build the AI employees, I need ML
There's a great
engineers.
there's a great company out there. It's called EMA.
We are doing a lot of that actually, right?
I'm just joking. I'm sure you do. Yeah.
Another episode worth of content we have, but yeah, but like that becomes the second challenge of how we
Yeah.
grow fast enough in pace with the opportunity at hand. We're very excited about that opportunity. And I think third is when we sell to enterprises, it's not just the business owner, it's not just the CHRO. We have to navigate the whole ecosystem in any large company. There's so many
Yeah.
players, etc. So am I as a small company, it becomes harder to do that unless you kind of know it already. Of course, we worked at large companies. We have good networks. It helps us to reach out to that network, and our advisors, our investors have been very generous in there. But it still is a challenge to like, okay, and there are also politics in a large company. There's also
Always.
I build it on my own versus a lot of that conversations happen. So enterprise selling is hard. So I would say
It
yes,
is. It is.
education, people for ourselves as a company to execute on the opportunity, and then navigating the enterprise and how do we get better and better at doing that. Honestly, that is the challenges I would say that you're solving for Emma with Emma.
Fantastic. I think this is great last words for Emma with Emma. Swati, it has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing and for introducing Emma to us. Thank you. Have a
This
wonderful
was
rest of the
amazing.
day.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
It was. Bye.